As a former middle school teacher who taught every single kid in the school at least once a week, I love a good IEP accommodation that doesn't require version A, B, C, etc. I taught 6th through 8th grade computer science, and every single kid at the school was required to take my class, which was awesome, and everyone should make their school that way. But it also meant that I was working with a lot of different IEPs, 504s, different types of learning style needs and accommodations that I needed to incorporate into learning materials so that students could have the best learning experience possible. What I noticed was that while there was a lot of different names for certain conditions or different types of learning needs, a lot of the accommodations actually looked pretty similar. And before I started teaching computer science, I was a graphic designer. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to use some of this graphic design knowledge to create a system of graphics so that I can incorporate this into all student-facing material. I can hit these accommodations, and I don't need to make multiple versions of classwork. So this is going to be really sustainable for me. And it's also going to serve every student better, not just the ones with IEPs, 504s, you name it. So one of the most common ones that I saw was just providing video and audio recordings for students to watch after class or if they were gone or whatever. And so a lot of these graphics here are all kind of rooted in that need. So maybe linking something to this graphic here or a class recording, inserting these types of graphics just to remind students like, hey, you have this capability and you can use it with what we're using in class. Probably the most frequently seen accommodation would have been this one, concise, direct prompts. And so just being really loud with the graphics, like, yeah, these are nice and fun and loud to put into student-facing material, but it actually can make or break a student's experience in class if they can easily find the instructions, if they know they're on track, if they're doing X, Y, and Z. They know where to start, they know where to type, they know that they're supposed to take notes. It's going to make their experience in class feel so much more successful. Providing frequent direct feedback was one that I struggled with a lot with the number of students that I was teaching. And so when I was creating Stickity, I made sure to create an entire library of feedback stickers that teachers can just insert into student work, which is going to be far more noticeable for students. They're not going to accidentally type over a comment or anything like that. This is going to catch their attention. And then teachers can also attach comments, or you can hyperlink to an extra resource, something like that. This is going to allow direct feedback to happen pretty quickly. It can happen at home when you're going through students' work or after school or whatever, and then that way they get it the very next day or whenever they open up that document again. There's a reason that the expectation stickers are the most popular stickers within Stickity. It's so wonderful to just be able to visually communicate your expectations for class that day. So this is something that's going to help every single student in the room or every single staff member in the meeting, whatever you need. But for an IEP accommodation, frequent reinforcement of desired and positive behaviors, this can actually make or break an entire experience for a student, is just feeling like they know what's expected of them. So I would put these up on the board. I would put these into student materials, and that way they can kind of self-monitor a little bit better. I don't think that students show up to school just wanting to do poorly that day, but I also don't think that just verbal instructions are ever enough for students to be able to completely follow 100% of the time. And so using these graphics actually makes a huge, huge difference for everybody, but especially our students who need this accommodation. So here's another one that I saw a lot, is to number and present instructions in a sequence. So this is another one too that's just like, it's just good teaching, but it's a frequent accommodation that you will see in IEPs, especially students on the autism spectrum or with executive functioning disorders. And so knowing where to start, super important. Knowing when to stop, also super important. Being very clear about the steps that we're following. And some IEPs, you'll even see the specification of you need to add color to some of these steps or sequences, and so each of these steps has its own color. It goes with all of the default color palette choices that you see in Google Docs and Google Slides. So you could essentially create text that goes along with that. You can make little boxes around it that kind of highlights it even more, just to hit that color piece even more. So yes, Stickity is really fun to use. It's great to be able to quickly add graphics into your student-facing materials or staff-facing materials, parent-facing materials, whatever. But you're also accommodating a ton of different learning differences as you use it.